Now, one of Clare's most uplifting musical events is set to return early next year. As the Ennis Choral Festival comes back to the county town from the 30th of January to the 1st of February, bringing 3 days of competition, workshops and community singing under the theme Spring into Song. And joining me now in studio are the director of the Ennis Choral Festival, Carmel, Honan, CEO of Ennis Chamber, Margaret O'Brien, and on the line we have the head of marketing at CSRDI Electronics, Peter Murphy. And you're all very welcome to the show. And Carmel, we'll start with yourself. Last year's festival, clearly a great success. What stood out for you and how has that success shaped the programme for 2026?
I suppose, Alan, the biggest success really was just the response to the festival itself and the number of people who participated in workshops and in competitions. We had 24 choirs from all over Ireland, 7 counties represented in competitions. We had 1,800 people engage with the festival, either as audience members during competitions, as an audience for the concert in the cathedral on the Sunday, or in terms of participating in the variety of workshops that we had. So that was really encouraging, and the feedback was encouraging, and there was just a great buzz in town and lots of song.
Brilliant. So it sounds it all went really, really well, and that leads us into the 2026 edition. What can people expect from the programme across the 3 days from the end of January into the start of February?
Well, we've kept the format exactly as it worked for us last year.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say.
Exactly, Alan, exactly. And so on the Friday, we have primary, secondary and youth choir competitions, and to date we have 15 choirs entered over that day, which is going to be an arduous task for the adjudicators. Saturday is adult competitions and various different workshops, and Sunday is the concert again in the cathedral. And I suppose I was thinking this morning coming in, we'll all be kind of looking at various different credit card bills rolling in January, and it'll be nice to know that there's something.
Don't remind me. If I don't think about them, they don't exist.
There'll be something to look forward to the end of January that will be free. The workshops are free, the concert is free, attending the competitions as an audience is free as well too. And
that's a really good point to lead into yourself, Margaret, because from the with the Ennis Chamber hat on, nobody looks forward to January. Dark, cold, we're all stony broke, and even weather-wise, it can lead into February, March. I'm not trying to be miserable, folks, but it can be tend to be quiet as well for retail and hospitality. So when you have an event like the Choral Festival, it's a timely boost for businesses in the town to bring people in.
Yeah, it is. And more than that, Alan, like with festivals in Ennis, we really have to look at shoulder season, because we don't have the hotel accommodation for peak season. Our hotels are full during the summer, so the hotels really welcome events that are pitched in the shoulder seasons. And it's why the Book Club Festival, entering 20 years next year, has been so successful, and I think Carmel's festival is going to follow in their footsteps. And it's great that we had somebody. You always rely on volunteers and volunteer groups to run these festivals, and it's great to have Carmel pitch up with her group and fill that space, which is our newest bank holiday, and to put Ennis on the map for that, because the sooner you can grab and own something for that period, the more recognition you'll get, and it'll become something that is better and more widely known. So I think it is just such ideal timing from that point of view as well. And again, with the business hat on, I know that the boutiques and the cafes are delighted. They really, really want to encourage footfall at that time of year. January is, traditionally very quiet for them. So it does feel like, that spring is springing a little bit early when the Choral Festival comes to town.
Yeah, a very, very timely addition to the events calendar, that is for sure. Peter Murphy from EI Electronics. You're sponsoring the Choral Festival for 2026, and given what we've just heard, it sounds like you're back on the right horse.
Well, yeah, good morning, Alan and Carmel and Margaret. And I think EI Electronics here in Shannon. We're delighted, to come on board as a sponsor for the event. Last year, Carmel did a super job with her team in terms of establishing, the first year of it, and had a vision to grow it. And we're, huge supporters of building the community here and seeing what she had done and the potential, as has been outlined, to establish, Clare and Ennis and a hallmark festival, choral festival, here it was kind of a no-brainer for us to say we want to support this, and we've supported a lot of community engagement in sport, education, in business, as many people know over the years and through schools. But arts and culture is one area we felt definitely we can do more, and this was just an obvious one to say let's build on it and let's try and establish this, and hopefully there's a vision there, make it an international festival and get it on the map for Ennis and for Clare.
And I suppose, Carmel, there are events planned for venues like Glore, the Templegate Hotel, and potentially free events in Kilrush. How important is it for the festival to reach both local audiences but the wider county, if at all possible?
Absolutely, Alan. And we have centred the festival in Ennis. But last year, again, your question at the top of the interview, for me, it was about participation. People travelled from West Clare. They made an entire weekend of it. They travelled from East Clare and engaged in workshops and competed in competitions, attended concerts, and just generally enjoyed Ennis and what it had to offer. And it was, we looked for feedback from choirs from Galway, Tipperary, Wexford, and lots of people said, gosh, Ennis is a lovely town. And, they were really taken with the facilities there, and shops and cafes. And I think it's important too, we really welcome EI's sponsorship of the festival. It is a game changer really for us. But we also had tremendous support from local businesses. All of our trophy competitions were sponsored by local businesses. And I appreciate that, times are difficult for businesses too. So taking a leap of faith in us was really appreciated. And last year, I remember an interview here last year, Margaret saying that we were well supported by Clare County Council in terms of grant aid, but you need seed funding before you draw down that grant aid. So last year we ran it on a prayer and a song. And
just as well, you had a few songs.
We had a few, Alan. And so this year it has just transformed everything for us in terms of planning. And we got a grant this year from Clare County Council. We have this really beautiful, waiting to launch pop-up outdoor tent performance, which we will be able to put in the new plaza in O'Connell Street and have outdoor singing, non-competitive, which opens up to other choirs who may not necessarily want to compete but enjoy singing.
Okay, and Margaret, I guess there's an important aspect to this is, everyone benefits. People having something on at a time of year when it can tend to be a bit quiet. It's great for businesses. Great to have EI on board as well. But the collaborative aspect to ensure it all passes off well and goes well, be it the event organisers like Carmel, sponsors like Peter and EI, and the business community that you represent, that everyone is kind of has the heads together beforehand to ensure that everything works well.
Yeah, and I have to say, especially with the retailers that would step on board and support you, it's always the usual suspects, I have to say, and we have a backbone of business people in Ennis that really should be celebrated because they support everything. It might be a small coterie of them, but they really do put their hand in their pocket and support everything, and they follow it through. So with the boutiques, they'll always have a warm welcome. They will ask people, are they visitors that weekend? Are they at the Choral Festival? And you might think that's kind of like, well, is it necessary? It is necessary. It really makes people feel welcome. So, we know exactly within the chamber which of the businesses will sort of take that narrative on board for us and will make people feel especially welcome in Ennis when they visit for the Choral Festival. And I think that, Carmel, I'd say it would be true to say that a lot of those small businesses, like the sponsorships might not be huge, but they're consistent and you can rely on them.
Absolutely.
And it's very wholehearted. So the commitment is very wholehearted. And collectively then, if you can get enough of those businesses behind you, then, you're on the pig's back. I did say it last year and I will say it again now, but grants are all very well, but for voluntary groups, they have to raise that money somewhere and get the money back afterwards. And the amount of people who flex their own credit card to put an event or, a festival on the map in this town,
it's to be commended.
It really has to be commended. And I think, people say, oh, it's great that we've got a voluntary or a volunteer ethic in this country, but there are grades of volunteers, and they're the ones, and I think maybe the ones like Carmel who have passion for what they're doing. So, this isn't just a festival for Carmel. It's about music, which is in her DNA, and she loves it so much and she's passionate about it. And maybe that's why Carmel, took the risk and flexed the carb, because Carmel did it too. So many people have done that for this town, and they have to be celebrated.
Brilliant stuff. And just final word from yourself, Carmel, if people want to find out the details of what's on what day and whether they need tickets for any events and how to buy tickets and so on, where can they go?
Well, first of all tickets will be available through Eventbrite, and that will launch on Monday. So any of the workshops, we've expanded our workshop suite to include a beautiful workshop on Gregorian chant, and lots of others. All the details are on our Facebook page. So Eventbrite on Monday, and while you don't pay, we do need to know about capacity and the number of people who will be participating.
Okay, so you can plan. Okay, well look, it promises to be a brilliant event. That is the Ennis Choral Festival, happening from the 30th of January to the 1st of February next year. My thanks to Carmel, Honan and Margaret Brien. Ladies, thank you very much, and a big thanks as well to Peter Murphy from EI Electronics on the line as well, and happy Christmas to all of you and a safe New Year too.